So, welcome back to episode 84 now.
Yeah.
Of the Macbeef-Banquet Podcast. And today is a special day because we found this homeless bum on the street. And we decided to bring him into the studio. And he knows a lot about movies, believe it or not, surprisingly. Yeah. Yeah, why don't you, do you want to say your name or you?
Yeah,
okay,
I'll introduce myself.
You don't have to say your last name if you don't want to.
My name is Brian. I'm here today with my good friend Henri and his good friend Milz, who I just met for the first time.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Yep, Brian and I went to film school together. That's how we met up. He and I met on the LA trip, I think, which is about almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, just about.
In like end of April, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
But and I'd seen you around a couple times, but yeah, that's when we first, I think, actually hung out for the first time. So, Brian actually picked the movie for today, which was John Dies at the End. And, you'd seen it like a week or two ago, right?
Yeah, I watched it a couple weeks ago, and I'm glad that I did. I think it's interesting that you guys were able to go in with fresh eyes. I think that would give kind of a interesting perspective from both of our ends. But yeah, I'd watched it because I really like the director Don Coscarelli, who did Bubba Hotep, and then he went for years. He did like a decade-long hiatus, and then he just dropped this movie. And I always liked him because he did the Phantasm movies, Beastmaster, but he kind of works now and like he's independent still. He's like one of the horror directors of the 70s and 80s who didn't kind of go off and do something new with their career. He's still kind of working in that weird microcosm of filmmaking, and I really like that.
Yeah,
it makes him interesting in a way.
Definitely, very much so. I felt like it would be a very fun set to be on, just because like there's so much random stuff happening.
Yes.
Like whether with like the performances and everything in the story, I think that'd be pretty funny. The way that the story kind of went was kind of fun.
Oh, absolutely.
But what do you think, Milz?
I liked it. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge fan of like Evil Dead and like that whole series of stuff.
Definitely.
So, yeah, it was really good. I liked. It was really interesting because like Chase Williamson, who plays Dave, and
the guy who plays John,
Jimmy Wong.
Oh yeah.
I think his name is. Can't find it. They were on Video Game High School together, which was created by Freddie Wong. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was like, cool. I think this came before that, but it definitely, or no, maybe it came after. I don't know. But still, like, it was a lot of, just interesting because they're pretty good. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No. Well, that makes sense too.
That's cool. I didn't know that they had done that together because I remember I never saw Video Game High School, but I remember it being advertised like in the mid 2010s, early 2010s.
Yeah, I gotta say.
I always remember it looked interesting, but yeah, they have good chemistry together. So it's neat that they were. I mean, makes sense because
right?
they'd worked together before.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like it. Yeah, like some of the effects were obviously a little cheesy, but like that kind of adds to like the whole gimmick of it, I think, too. So yeah, that's kind of where like you see it kind of knows what it is, even from the beginning. I think with like the narration was kind of obviously a little bit silly, so you don't expect too much from it, which is important, I think.
Yeah, it immediately kind of throws you into what it's bringing to the table.
Yeah,
and that's actually interesting. I think I liked it better this time watching it with you guys than I did the first time. Because I remember my initial reaction, I was like, I like the intro. I'm like, okay, that's funny. Like, they do it, okay, you're here, you do this, you do that. And he's like, the main character is literally just kind of introducing you to what it's like to be him and what it's like to live in this world.
Yeah.
But it felt weird to me. They have the Paul Giamatti character come into play, and he's in this one diner for the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, I like Paul Giamatti. I like what they're doing with this character. But it kind of felt like, we've got this, A-lister. We're going to have him on this one set. But then they don't do that. They take him out of that set. And then it's, I don't know. It exceeded my expectations in weird ways.
Yeah.
And it kind of became more than I was expecting. Because initially it does kind of feel like, you mentioned Evil Dead, Miles. It kind of felt like a Evil Dead supernatural type shtick they had going on.
Yeah.
But after that initial opening scene, you do realize this movie has a lot more going on underneath the surface.
Yeah, I think I was confused for a little bit because it was like they had, as you said, they have the beginning part where it feels like that's going to be the movie, where it's them presenting what his life is like, and then the rest of the movie is everything that happened before that, like the intro to how he got into the world. Where he is,
yeah. Definitely.
And the title is a little misleading because John didn't technically die, I guess.
It wasn't at the end when he died.
Yeah.
At the very least, yeah.
But I guess it kind of works because the whole idea is about time and how it kind of overlaps and it goes back to the beginning. And once you're introduced to this, well, I guess would this be a good time to do a brief synopsis of what the movie's about?
Yeah, we can.
What do you guys want to?
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. So I'll start it. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, actually, no, never mind. Yeah, you don't get to talk about it. Yeah. So it's very much. I don't know. It's kind of it's a wild ride really from start to finish because you start off with Dave and he kind of goes on this sort of weird journey because he sort of kind of starts with. Yeah, like we said, sort of him at the diner and everything, and you kind of sort of set up the story, and then you see it kind of just sort of shifts at random times. It's kind of cool because you see he gets this experience with what was his name? John. So John is calling him, and then he's like, "Yo, come help me out," or whatever, and it looks like he's tripping for a second, and then he takes him to this diner thing, and then he gets another phone call from John, and that's when you kind of find out there's some weird trippy stuff going on, and that just kind of leads from there into some meeting some really wacky characters, and then eventually it kind of gets to the point where they travel to another dimension, and you can kind of guess from there that it's kind of just sort of a wacky, fun sort of adventure, and obviously they go back to their world, and then it sort of sets it up kind of for a sequel, but like we said, it didn't get anywhere, and it was based on a book, you said, right?
What's interesting is the book is by a man named David Wong, who the main character's name is, and they actually, it kind of gets weird and meta. One of the big things is why John starts tripping out, and then David eventually they're introduced to this drug. I forget I don't think they actually have
soy sauce is what they call it.
They call it soy sauce. I think that's an unofficial term for it. I don't know what it's
ambiguous.
It's like this black substance that it's an organism of its own, and when you inject it into your body, you start to see weird otherworldly things, and time starts to become more irrelevant. But it gets kind of weird and meta because Henri had mentioned, this movie's based off a book, and what's interesting is the main character's name is John Wong,
right?
And they kind of have this weird meta moment, or David Wong, they have this weird meta moment where Paul Giamatti's character's he's getting this story told from him by David, and he says, "Oh yeah, this would make a great book," and David's like, "What? No, what? I don't want this to be a book," which is it's ironically what it actually is in reality. So it's kind of this weird, oh, that's interesting. That's how it exists. Exists in our world, but.
I have seen authors name the characters, their main characters, after themselves before, so it's not an uncommon thing.
Right,
definitely.
But it works in a different way in this movie, I think.
I get that. I don't know what else.
I mean that's kind of the main stuff with it. I just kind of, like you said, I think it kind of surprised me in a couple of different ways that I really enjoyed because. It's kind of got that gimmickiness and it's kind of just wacky, but it does so I think in a specific way. It's not just yo, this is gonna be kind of funny. Let's write it like this, like I mentioned, there was kind of a lot of parts where you kind of get that classic stoner talk of this is how space and time is, kind of thing. It kind of goes on these little tangents at times, but but then it's also got this random stuff with that, what was his name? Your favorite character, that agent guy?
There's a character, Agent Appleton.
And some of the stuff with him, and what kind of goes on with him and Dave at the house or whatever when he's blowing it up with gasoline and then the dog is driving the car. There's there's a lot of random stuff in there, but it also doesn't necessarily feel just random at the same time, which is kind of cool. At least I think so. But. I would definitely recommend it.
I like what you said there, Henry, because the movie has a lot of. There's a lot of random qualities to it. There's a lot of sporadic ideas. I think there's a lot of good ideas. Mm-hmm. There's some bad stuff too, which I'm sure we'll probably talk about. But I like that you mentioned there's like the stoner talk, I guess you could say. And I agree, but I think what's nice about it is it doesn't feel like these nothings that they're saying.
Right.
I like that it fits with the themes of the movie, what they're talking about, and time.
It's all still cohesive and
And I can't say that about everything in the movie, but what I really love is that the drug itself has very specific rules, and I like that they stick to that. And immediately you understand what it does, how it affects you, how long it lasts. And I like that. That's something that I think was important to keep concrete. And I think they did do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they could very well just totally retcon the entire idea and by the end of the movie and just have it be this totally, this is how it works out. And it kind of is like a cheap sort of getaway gag sort of thing. But
there's some plot conveniences, but I don't think the drug ever feels like it molds to what the story needs it to. It's always, this is what it is from start to finish. Right. I like that they stayed consistent to that.
That's true. So what were some things that you didn't really think worked as well for it?
The script, so there's a lot. It's such a mixed bag movie.
Right.
Originally when I saw it, I would say, something that attracted me to it is I was talking about this with Henri and Milz earlier. Mm-hmm. I like movies that have middling scores that are you find them 60% on Rotten Tomatoes or 5 out of 10 on IMDb. I find those are a lot more interesting to me recently because there's always something there. Why is it so divisive? Why do some people love it and some people hate it? And this is one of those movies. I feel like I was in the middle first. I think I like it more than I did the first time now. Yeah. But some of the stuff that I don't love, I think one of the big detriments to it is I like Chase Williamson a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't love the numbness that his performance brought. I felt like it didn't always work.
Yeah.
But as the movie goes along, I think he kind of picks his performance up a little bit.
Yeah,
I think he works a lot more. So there was that. I think the sense of humor, while the movie can be funny, I think it has a lot of good timing and line delivery.
Yeah.
I do think some of the writing is almost borderline juvenile.
Yeah.
There's a lot of masturbation jokes and they're talk about penises a lot.
Right.
Yeah. And it's kind of it doesn't always work, but I don't know who's to attribute that to. Is it the book or the movie? And I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
A lot of that fell flat for me.
I would be curious to check out the book, and see how different it is. Because I was also kind of glad that they kind of got away because they had the stuff at the beginning, the doorknob becomes a dick at one point, some of that stuff. I'm kind of glad they got away from it. Yeah. And a little bit more into sort of more what the actual story is, which is kind of good. But did anything not work for you, Milz? Was there anything you wanted to mention with it, or?
No. Recently I've been looking at a lot of special effects stuff, just kind of looking at because I there's this one channel I watch, Corridor Digital, and they talk a lot about VFX artists react, and it's just kind of them just reacting to VFX, and it's, it definitely stands out in this movie, and I know it's low budget. And there's still, something to be said about the work ethic that goes behind it, though. So I don't know. Yeah, there are definitely some good VFX shots that I liked. I liked Korak a lot, actually. I like that he was just this big, this thing at the bottom, giant, just a wall of flesh almost. It was I really liked that, actually.
And he was always moving legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, the VFX, a lot of it, I don't know if it ever held up, but a lot of it doesn't hold up now.
Yeah.
When they first enter the realm where they're about to go to meet Korak, you can tell, immediately that's a green screen.
Right,
it does not look like they're actually there.
Yeah.
I think the monsters look good.
Mm-hmm. I think some of them are practical, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
the little
meat
worms.
monster.
The meat, thing, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I
don't know what that is.
Someone's knocking at the door.
Yeah, we gotta knock at the door here.
Someone's really passionate about John Drives Again and wants to get on the podcast.
I need to talk about this
Listen,
movie.
You don't understand it like I do.
Yeah, no, Miles, I'm glad you said that because I do agree. I think some of them are a little transparent, and that's a digital effect.
Yeah.
But I feel like I always like the designs of what they're going for.
Oh, yeah, they're really cool.
They never felt uninspired, even if they don't always feel real.
Right. Yeah. But yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I would recommend it.
Definitely. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I would recommend it.
And then now we kind of just talk about what we had seen this week.
What do you watch this week, Miles?
A lot, actually. I watched Minari on Saturday.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool.
What was it? I saw not Strange. What was it called? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. I really like that. If you're a fan of like the stories, the original.
Like the book or
yeah. The movie was pretty good.
What is the name of that director?
I know the producer was Guillermo del Toro, obviously, but I can't remember. He's like a small town.
I need to, because I'm pretty sure that director did a movie that I haven't seen
Andre
recently.
Overdahl.
Yeah.
Andre Overdahl. Yeah. Okay. So he did a movie called The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Oh, yeah.
Have you, either of you guys seen that?
I have not, no. But he did Troll Hunter, and I do want to see that movie.
Troll Hunter's great.
I want to see that.
Autopsy of Jane Doe would definitely check out. If you liked scary stories to tell in the dark, he works so well with atmosphere.
Oh, okay.
And that is another great example of that. I really liked Autopsy.
Definitely.
But anyway, sorry. I heard that movie title and I'm like, I love that director.
Yeah, definitely.
What else did I see? Scare Me. I know you were in the same. I was finishing Scare Me. That was pretty funny actually.
Yeah.
It's on Shudder.
Great movie.
What the fuck else? I don't honestly remember. I saw Blood Machines, which was also on Shudder.
Okay, how was that?
It's weird. It's trippy.
I was gonna say, I figured it would be.
So Miles, you're a horror fan then.
Yeah,
You got Shudder.
I think in terms of like films that I want to direct, horror is kind of the thing I'm leaning more towards. If anything, obviously I'm open to anything, but horror is kind of where I want to go, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
I don't know what they're doing out there. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. I can't remember anything else.
Okay. What about you, Brian? What did you watch this week? Anything?
So I've been catching up with a lot of the Best Picture nominations.
Yep.
And I recently watched Promising Young Woman, which I really, really liked.
Yep.
I think out of like the Oscar-nominated movies, that I could definitely see that as like at the top of my list, or at least towards the top of my list. I thought it was really clever in a lot of ways I wasn't expecting.
I think like Ethan said, like it made me think a lot. You know, like probably the most out of all of them. It kind of got me like thinking of, because it was great because it works as a sort of fun like revenge thriller kind of thing, but like it's also got like, I don't know, it's definitely got like those like, I don't know, like the script, you could tell like she did like the work to think about what people would think of the movie and how they would think about the movie. So like I feel like she was very careful to pace the right ideas at the right times, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked what it said about like sexism. I feel like it presented that in a very real way. I feel like a lot of movies kind of fall into that trap of like, oh, they get the cartoonish like sexist guys like, hey babe, go make me a sandwich, like stuff like that. And it's like no one really talks like that. I mean, obviously there are people like that, but it's kind of boring. But so I'm glad that they took the idea of sexism, they made it more real. Here's kind of more subtle, the more like subtle examples of it. I thought that was really well done.
Right.
I watched Sound of Metal, of course, which I thought was fantastic. I think Riz Ahmed, I really hope he gets the Oscar nom because I thought his performance was great.
Yeah.
Just a really good character arc.
I agree. Yeah.
What else? Synchronic, which is very good.
Yeah.
It's a duo of directors actually that I'm a really big fan of. They did the movie Resolution and Endless, which if you haven't seen, the great companion piece movies, they're so good. They did another one called Spring that I like quite a bit, but just really good directors. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, they're fantastic. But yeah, Synchronic is really good. Just really weird sci-fi. Ironically enough, it's about a drug that involves time. And,
right,
so we watched a lot of drug movies recently, apparently. But so that was good. Trying to think of what else. I mean, as far as TV shows, I've been watching King of the Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really funny.
Yeah, but
I hadn't seen it for years. For whatever reason, I decided to pick it up. But
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I was we were talking about that a little while back, King of the Hill.
A week ago.
We'd never, probably about a week ago, because I've never seen it. I don't think you've seen it either, right?
Man. I'm so surprised how well it's aged. Like, the comedy is still so sharp, and it's like a sweet show, surprisingly.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I just really like it.
Hell yeah, for sure. Gotcha.
What about you?
I've been sort of catching up on the Best Picture nominations as well, and I also watched what was it? Stanley Kubrick's first movie yesterday, Fear and Desire. I watched that for the first time, which I liked. I definitely want to go back and watch it again, I think. Just because I feel like there might have been some stuff I missed too, even. Just in terms of like the way he kind of directed it. But
what were your initial thoughts, though?
I liked it. I liked what he was able to do with the sort of minimal stuff that he had, because it was mainly like, I think, like the 5 people. And I like the idea that like he had sort of the lieutenant play like the general on the other side of the opposing side as well. I like that aspect of it, because it kind of and I really like the performance too of what was his name? He's like the guy that stays back with the girl that they capture. I kind of liked his performance, because it was kind of wacky, and then like you started to see him at the end when he's on the raft. That was kind of a cool little sort of because I feel like that's kind of classic of things you see in like war movies, where people are either shell-shocked or whatever, and they kind of just sort of become disillusioned with things like life. You kind of see that in like the beginning of like Apocalypse Now sort of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Definitely. So
and
like,
I didn't expect that from that character.
Exactly, yeah. So I thought it was pretty well done, considering the limitations. I did respect the decision to kind of not make it about any particular war either, because that gives you a lot more room to play with, I think, with the characters.
Yeah.
Without having to sort of fit into like these limitations of, this is exactly what it would look like in like Vietnam or Korea or World War II or whatever, So he kind of was able to keep it ambiguous, I think, which which was definitely, I could see why, especially considering the time and the budget that they had. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Kubrick. I'm sorry. I just got me thinking about this movie now. Kubrick was like so anti-war, and so the fact that he was able to just like make it like general topic. Oh, this is about all war. Like I think it made it more powerful in a way.
And it's great too, I think, because it allowed him to sort of show his voice early on. With some of that, and then especially if you contrast it with like Full Metal Jacket or something like that, where just seeing how it had sort of evolved. I want to check out what was it? Was it Killer's Kiss? Or the Killer?
Kiss.
Killer? Yeah.
The Killing.
The Killing. That's,
yeah.
I want to check that out.
That's so good.
At some point, for sure, because I heard that's one of his more. I think it was like Roger Ebert calls it like one of his more like mature first features.
Absolutely.
So I want to check that out at some point.
His original, like his early career, is very fascinating.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, everyone looks at his 70s and 80s stuff, which is great. But he did some really, really interesting movies early on. Paths of Glory, Kirk Douglas, another great example.
Yep, definitely. I wanted to check out, like some of how he kind of got started. That'd be interesting to explore.
Oh, absolutely.
And see what he kind of did with like the sort of limitations he had. So that's why I watched it. But yeah, other than that, Minari was really good. I really enjoyed that. And then I watched. I want to go back and watch Nomadland, I think, again, because there are definitely some points. I don't know if maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. Like, I definitely thought it was really good. I just think I missed some things that I want to go back and check out. And maybe some of, like, the poetic lines and stuff or things like that.
The Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut? Oh, yeah, we did watch the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Release the Zal Cut.
And then Ethan and I went and saw Return of the King in IMAX on Saturday, which was
so
fun.
Jealous of still.
There were definitely we both agreed there were definitely some points where the effect shots didn't look the greatest, but some of it was pretty good. some of it was pretty solid. I think Ethan mentioned that Sheila looked pretty, like Spider looked really really solid, still pretty held up pretty well.
Yeah.
So there were definitely, and it was I forgot how like epic some of those sequences were too.
Oh, yeah.
It was like where that like the Witch King's like fortress or whatever. You see like that big like green, and like the sound design was fun. And, it was great. It was great. So definitely enjoyed it.
Miles, did you see Nomadland?
No, I have not, sadly.
Okay. I'm interested to hear about what you thought about because like the movie's about a lot about like homelessness and stuff, and a lot of people like it's ironically kind of it's got a lot of buzz, so obviously that introduces people who didn't like it. But yeah, that topic that it deals with kind of has got people on the fence. I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts on that, but anyway,
yeah, I could check it out.
It's right on Hulu. So no, it's pretty good. Yeah, I really liked it. We could probably talk about it for the podcast at some point if you wanted to, once you watch it. But yeah, other than that, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else I've seen this week. I've been continuing with It's Always Sunny, which is a fun show. It's really good.
It's so great.
Yeah, definitely. What did I watch? I just watched the one where they try to do like an extreme home makeover for like that like that one's family.
That's such a dark
and then it just
episode.
ends up. Yeah, it's like they're trying to make like Taco Bell or something like out of this like hammock or something, and it just doesn't. It's like the only thing after they like burn the house down.
Oh my gosh.
And then they get the mansion. I was like wondering because it's like. They always do this like really borderline like illegal stuff, and it's like how they get out of it. And it's like this one's pretty much just arson.
Yeah,
and they're like, I love how they're just like, I can't believe we got away with that without an arson charge or something like that, you know. And then they obviously have to give up the mansion.
Is that your first time watching that show?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome, dude! It's so funny.
I've been going through it, and it's
such
been pretty
a clever
great.
show.
Yeah. I was telling Miles I really enjoyed. I think season 2. I felt like once they got like Danny DeVito in there.
Frank.
As Frank, you know,
Frank's probably one of my favorite characters in the show.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, season 1 was really good, obviously, but I think season 2 is where I really enjoyed it because I really loved how like they used like the title as like a joke.
Yeah,
like, set it up and be like, you know, we would never do this thing, and it's like the gang does this thing, you know, and and I think they found
jokes.
that comedic timing, I think, but yeah, definitely good stuff.
Yeah,
around,
I think that's good. Yeah,
cool.
For this week's
episode. Yeah. Thanks for being on with us, Brian.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yeah,
fun time.
Next week we'll be watching Mandy.
Okay.
Shudder.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to use the fuck out of Shudder now.
Get your money's
There's
worth.
so much great stuff on there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely.
I want to see Color Out of Space.
Okay.
There's other stuff too. I can't think of right now, but
I want to check Mandy. Yeah, it's been on my list. I want to check it out. Yeah.
Miles, you'll have to tell me about what you think about Color Out of Space because that was that's one of the ones. It's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good in there. It's a lot like John dies at the end in that way.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Really want to check that one out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So watch Mandy. I think that's it.
For next week, you said on Shudder.
Shudder. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Alrighty. Yeah. See you next week.